That's right. Um, and I've got pictures of my grandparents back behind me. I'm actually, this is somewhat cruel, I realized this morning, but I'm coming to all of you from sunny Florida, soon to be sunny Florida. So I hear you need
Nice.
a little sunshine back home. So I'm sending all of that back to you in Ohio today.
Awesome. Good for you. Lucky. We are in the middle of a snowstorm, snow emergency. The
I've
kids
heard.
are home for the fifth day in a row. I'm going crazy. Um, but for all of you out there, this is 7 minutes of sunshine. It's 7:07, and obviously, Joseph has joined us today to share his values and superpower. And we're so lucky, even from Florida, you've decided to do that. And Joseph is, I've known you for a little while. We went to the same high school at very different times.
About that different.
um, and I've known your family for decades, which is really cool. So we both went to St. Charles, and then you went off to Ohio State and got a BA in history, and then got your law degree. And you're currently with the 10th staff attorney for the 10th District Court of Appeals. Is that right?
That's right. I work for Judge Julia Dorian there. So
Nice. Oh, I bet that's fascinating. And
she's
then we
great.
have another intersection with the fact that you have been helping Equality Ohio, serving on the board and chair for both boards, both the C3 and C4 for a decade almost, like 8 years.
Yep. It's kind of hard to believe, honestly. Since I got out of law school, I was a student activist, and then joined the board, and they haven't been able to get rid of me since. So that's where I'm at.
That's an amazing tenure, as it's almost a third of your life. So I I have to say that's pretty impressive,
That's
um,
funny.
and it means a lot to me as a founder of Equality Ohio as well, that you've been such a great part of that, and we have all these connections. So uh, you've agreed to join my live broadcast and
For
share
you, Tom. I'll do it for you.
at 7 in the morning and share your values and superpower. So we put together a cool little slide with some photographs and your values and superpower. And I am going to exit the screen, and I'm going to give the floor to you and allow you to do that. So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
go
All
for it.
right. So good morning, everyone. I'll start with authenticity. It seems like a great place to start. And when I say authenticity, I think I mean the same thing that everyone means when they say authenticity, bringing who you are, your complete self. But I also mean a little bit different, a self-reflective sense of authenticity. It's hard to know authentically who you are if you don't really know yourself. And so, how do we know ourselves? In physical terms, I can stretch out my hand and I can see a piece of myself, but I have to have a mirror in order to really, truly get the complete picture of me. So, in that same sense, how do we know our emotional and our spiritual, our mental selves? And for that, we have to look at other people and listen to what they're reflecting back at us about ourselves. And so, whether it's your family, your friends, loved ones, critics, sometimes all of whom are the same person, what are they telling you about yourself? What are those things that you need to know in order to be authentically true to who you are, and then to change? So then that brings me to my next point, which is curiosity. So I was the child who asked why a billion times. I think my parents are still traumatized by the number of times I was asking why. And so a story about this, because I'm a geek, and this is Tom mentioned, I'm a history nerd. So Plato tells a story about Socrates. Socrates is talking about a wise man, and Socrates is a wise man. And what are the differences between these two wise men? And Socrates says that it's, I know that I know nothing. Not only do I know nothing, but I know that. And this other wise man, he assumes that he knows. And so curiosity is that understanding that we don't know, we don't have the full picture, and being willing to ask why, and to challenge. Which leads me to my next point, active empathy. And again, when I say empathy, it's the same thing I think everyone thinks when they say empathy. It's getting hit in the feels. It's feeling another person's joy or pain, their sadness, their pride. But beyond that, there's actually other forms of empathy. And for me, one of them is going back to curiosity. It's seeking to understand. That's actually an empathetic way of being, is not just feeling another person's pain, but asking, why do they feel this way? And then trying to understand, put yourself in their shoes, so to speak. That leads me to the next form of empathy, which is active empathy. And it's, what do you do with that? Most of the time, it's as simple as telling another person, I hear you. I see you. I see that you're in pain. I feel that for you. And I'm sorry. Sometimes it's more than that. To be, a true ally of the LGBTQ community. What are you doing? How are you showing up actively, empathetically? To be an anti-racist advocate, an ally. How are you bringing that empathy with you? That brings me to my next point, which is dedication. I am an authentic, full self, who I am. So bringing your whole self and thinking about what it is that you're giving yourself to completely, so you can bring that full, authentic self. And that brings me to my superpower, which is evolution or growth, adaptability, whatever you want to call it. It's understanding that there are those other selves that you're bringing with you in life. We have all the different versions of us, and then being intentional about where we're going and bringing those other pieces of ourselves with us. So for me, I am the inquisitive child who asks why more times than there are stars in the sky. I am the queer young adult who is fighting for his life to come out. I'm the law student who is seeking ideals of truth and justice and equality. I am a survivor of rape and assault and abuse, and more, and understanding that full, complete picture of who I am, and then bringing that and asking intentionally, who do I want to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Who do I want to grow into? Whether that's for me, I want to grow into an egalitarian love. I want to be, and I'm not there yet, but I'm in being vulnerable and being an anti-racist ally and advocate, being better. Asking yourself, holding all of those past versions of yourself authentically, who do you want to be in a year, in 5 years, and in 10 years? And, what steps are you taking today to get there? So that's my little journey, my values, and my superpower. And thanks, Tom, for the exercise. It was a fun little challenge.
Beautiful. You got me today. Wow, that was rich. That was just rich. The values are just amazing, and your superpower of evolution is unique. It's the first one I've gotten on that one, is evolution. That's really an interesting take, which to be a superpower, to continuing to drive, to improve, to evolve. And what I think about is, being that my superpower is to inspire. What I think about is how much that must set an example and inspire others as well, Joseph.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's how it works, and we see others really seeking and growing and learning, and it inspires, all of us that it can be done, but kind of leading the way. So I want to thank you for that. It's just beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm not going to let you go so quickly. Sorry.
That's right. I'm glad I clocked in at under 7 minutes.
You did just fine, but I'm going to make us go longer. So I have to ask you, you shared a lot as you shared your values, and I just have to ask, you've been an activist, you told me before we got on, since you were in law school, and you were part of the Outlaws group.
That's right.
Which I just love that name.
It was a fun group. We won a university-wide award. After Scalia came to our law school, we put on a series of programs. Scalia for those of you who don't know, former Supreme Court justice who talked about the gay agenda in not too flattering terms, and we put on a series of programs called the Gay Agenda, trying to reclaim that from him and tell people just own it. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, and you're part of our LGBTQ roundtable here in Central Ohio,
right.
which is really cool because Rhonda Rivera, who I know you know who she is because
Yep.
she really started things at OSU and the OSU Law School and was quite the national activist and advocate. It looks like you're following in her footsteps because she started our roundtable over 35 years ago, and you're now part of that as well. So,
I didn't realize that she was responsible for that. Yeah, she's
started it. Yeah,
mentor to my mentors. So it's really cool to be a part of that sort of chain of history there and advocacy.
Very cool. So my question to kind of leave everybody with is, I see your values and superpower. You obviously show up with them. You know, it's obvious that you thought about them and you live them. What drove you into activism? Because not everybody takes that leap into activism. Can you share a little bit about what drove you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm not a natural born activist. I'm deeply, it may be unapparent to those of my friends who have been in board meetings or whatever else with me, but I'm an introvert, and it took a push. So part of that was coming out, and it was not an easy coming out experience with my family, but being able to take that story, again, that self who was fighting to come out, and then also, like I said, being a survivor of rape, and I'm unapologetic about that piece of who I am. I think, especially as a man, there's a way that story gets erased. And so, bringing those pieces of me, and I think that naturally led me to being an activist. And then that, the parts of me that I don't have, I'm white, understanding my complicity in systemic racism. That's where the empathy comes in, and learning to be an activist in that space too, and to be an advocate for others. So it all flows from that story for me.
Yeah, you and I have a little bit of bookends, and I'm going to share this because as a founder of Equality Ohio, the fact that you have been such an intimate part of that organization, especially as our community has kind of faced up to racism and anti-racism. And I, of a little bit older generation, is lagging about fully understanding. And Equality Ohio played a role in kind of nudging me, which I find fascinating, right? It's just a beautiful story about helping to found an organization, and then that same organization kind of shaking me up a little bit. And it was hard because we all come from things, different generations and different ideas, and I guess that speaks back to your superpower about evolution,
right?
And we all can evolve.
Absolutely.
All of us, and sometimes we can evolve by things that we even helped start. So
right. Well, and to your superpower to inspire others. If you can show other people that you change, I had a conversation with now she just turned 80, my grandma down here in Florida, about Black Lives Matter and why removing Confederates, she watches Fox News. She was like, why are we removing these statues? By the end of the conversation, she had come completely in another direction. If my 80-year-old grandma raised in a completely different generation as a white woman can accomplish change in that way, I mean, we all can do it. So that's the ways that we can inspire others to change.
Fantastic story. Well, thank you. This is a very special.
Thanks for having me.
It's a very special 14 minutes at 7:07.
Sorry, everybody.
It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I really appreciate you joining me this morning, and from Florida. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time down there. We all are really angry with you right now because
I know. Sorry, everybody. I wish I could show you. It's not quite sunny out here yet, but I'll send it back to you as soon as I can.
We will live vicariously through you. Enjoy it, and I really appreciate you joining me. Remember, even when it's really damn cloudy out, the sun is always shining, right?
That's right.
Thanks, all right.